Okay, after making that last video, I realized there's probably people here that weren't alive in 75, people that don't know who Travis Walton is. He's still alive. He's about a year, 2 years old, maybe something like that. Now, in 1975, he had a logging crew. He had some type of contract with one of the Forest Service here in Arizona, up in the northern part. And Travis still lives in a small town like Snowflake, Arizona. And he's given numerous interviews. Of course, he wrote a book, and they made a movie loosely based upon what happened to him in 75. Now, I remember this. This is very clear in my mind what happened because I found it kind of interesting. Him and his logging crew were doing their thing in the forest, and he saw this light up in the sky. So he started waving his arms to try to get his attention. He's running around there. Apparently he had got injured, and they had whatever method they used to beam him up, or whatever method they used to get him into the spacecraft. Apparently they had, according to Travis, they'd fixed him up, and he's come out and he said he's never been ill a day of his life since that. So he thinks they did something to him to kind of cure him from ever getting sick ever again. That's his words. But anyway, his after he got abducted, his crew took off and they hauled out of the forest. After they got a couple miles, they all started talking to each other and said, "Hey, wait a minute, maybe we misunderstood what happened. We got to go back, and if Travis is injured, we got to go help him out." So they turned around. They searched where this happened. They couldn't find him. After they searched for a period of time, they said, "Hey, look, we got to go contact the sheriff's office." I don't know if that's Yavapai or Coconino. It's one of those counties. But anyway, they contacted the sheriff. The sheriff went out there and looked, and the thought among the police was that he'd gotten some type of altercation with one of his crew. They'd either accidentally or deliberately killed him and just buried him out there. And they were interviewing him. They were trying to figure out exactly what happened. And after 6 or 8 days, Travis had been released, and he made his way to this small town, and got to a payphone and called his family, and his family were questioning him. Where are you? Well, first they thought it was somebody else just kind of playing a trick on him, and he goes, "No, I'm Travis. The family said, "Well, what do you see in this little town?" Did you describe it? So, we know that's at. That's maybe 30, 40 miles from here. And they made their way over there. They grabbed Travis. I took him to the doctor, and I got him fixed up. And of course, he's interviewed by the police and stuff. And he gave this. He gave a number of radio and TV interviews over the events that happened. I remember very clearly. But he was talking about not only did he see the little gray guys, he saw these beings that they look human, but they all look like each other. He called them clones. Now, if you want the text of his interviews and stuff, they're not on YouTube, but you can find them here on the internet if you just search for them a little bit, because I've read some of those, and they're pretty interesting. Exactly what he saw. I'm just wondering if Travis has ever spotted any of these clones of his, because I'm sure he goes to these UFO conventions and stuff. I'm just wondering if he's ever spotted, anyone in the audience that he said, "Hey, that guy looks like the guy I saw in that spaceship in 75. I'd be interested if Travis has ever. Of course, maybe the aliens have, abducted more people and got more DNA. Maybe they've improved their techniques so they don't look like clones anymore. Who knows? Who knows who was grown in the belly of his mother, and who knows who was grown in a tank? That just makes it interesting. Okay, bye-bye.